Russia just launched its largest drone attack yet ahead of peace talks with the U.S.
Finally!
Were the talks already doomed from the start? According to reports, Russia launched its largest drone attack on Ukraine since the start of the war, destroying homes and killing at least one woman a day before U.S. President Donald Trump was due to discuss a proposed ceasefire with Russia's Vladimir Putin. Ukraine's intelligence service said it also believed Moscow intended to fire an intercontinental ballistic missile later on as an attempt to intimidate the West. There was no immediate response from Moscow to the accusation.
I tell you, I gotta plead ignorance on this thing.
Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky is straining to restore ties with Washington after a disastrous February White House visit, met Vice President J.D. Vance and Secretary of State Marco Rubio in Rome on Sunday on the sidelines of Pope Leo's inauguration. Zelensky said the meeting was good and released pictures of Ukrainian and U.S. officials sitting outside at a round table and smiling.
Okay, with how cute this is.
Ukrainian media said the meeting lasted 40 minutes. I reaffirmed that Ukraine is ready to be engaged in real diplomacy and underscored the importance of a full and unconditional ceasefire as soon as possible, said Zelensky, who also met the new pope. The leaders of Britain, France, Germany, and Poland plan to speak to Trump before the U.S. and Russian presidents speak on Monday, German Chancellor Friedrich Merz said. The four European leaders jointly visited Kyiv last week and have been calling for Trump to back new sanctions on Russia. Asked if it was time to impose tougher sanctions on Russia, U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said that was up to Trump. Though it really might not be up to Trump when it comes to any matter of the Russian invasion of Ukraine.
I could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody.
High-stakes peace talks between Russia and Ukraine that were called for by Vladimir Putin hit speed bumps as the Kremlin confirmed he would be skipping the negotiations, and President Trump added that nothing would happen unless he and his Russian counterpart attended.
Then wake up! You wake up!
Uncertainty over the start date, location, and whether either side would even participate made for chaotic scenes in the Turkish capital of Ankara, as well as in Antalya and Istanbul, where some 200 journalists and crew were massed outside the Ottoman-era Dolmabahce Palace with no clear idea of when talks would get underway.
But I will do everything in my power to get that information for you.
The talks were later postponed. The build-up to the talks had included a back-and-forth between Kyiv and Moscow and the Trump administration, which hinted at the possibility of a three-way meeting involving Trump, Putin, and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. That did not ultimately materialize. While speaking to reporters on Air Force One en route to the United Arab Emirates, Trump was asked about the level of the delegation Russia sent to Turkey. "Look, nothing's going to happen until Putin and I get together, okay?" he said, adding that Putin did not lead the delegation because Trump had chosen not to attend. He wasn't going if I wasn't there. Later on Thursday, Secretary of State Marco Rubio said that he would meet with Ukrainian